I want people to celebrate their lives. I create sacred spaces or these, sessions and workshops and talks because I want to bring people closer to the source.
Welcome back to another LT360 Podcast, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, my guest is from the Philippines. I'm super excited to have her on. Her name is Kimi Lu. She is a global life and leadership coach, among many other things. And I've yet to really have a true conversation with her. So this is going to be the first one, and you will be witness to it. So I want to let her kind of take the reins and introduce herself beyond just Kimi Lu from the Philippines, who is a global life and leadership coach. So, Kimi Lu, how are we doing? I know it's 8 p.m. your time.
Yes.
How was your day?
Hello. Well, hello, Dylan. I am so happy to be here on your show, your podcast. And it's amazing that I am miles and miles away, but we're making this happen. We're
Yeah.
meeting. And yes, it is our first time to converse, and I'm very excited. I am from the Philippines, and I guess my scientific name, I would share it this way. My scientific name would be I am a neuro linguistic hypnotherapy life coach and Reiki master practitioner and Nia instructor and Sister Stories facilitator. And it's just too many to mention. So you can just call me Kimi Lu, and I am a global life and leadership coach. And when they really ask me what I do, I tell them I teach people how to make anyone fall in love with them in terms of like charisma, rapport, just being your authentic self, loving yourself. So that's what I do. I help people become the best version of themselves, basically.
Wow, I love that. And
Mhm.
how have you come to learn so many different tools and skills? Where did all of this start?
Well, how do I answer that? First of all of those are learned around the world. I It's my hobby to travel and learn something new and
Awesome.
also to meet people while I'm traveling. But that journey started when I was lost. I was actually lost myself. Like I was in an office. I was working in the back office doing the usual emails,
Mhm.
Excel files. And then all of a sudden, I was tearing up. Like I was crying. And I couldn't understand like where are they coming from? Like why am I crying? What's happening to me? Am I going crazy? And then nights after that, like every single night, I would cry myself to sleep, not knowing what that was still. Like, why am I even crying? What's happening to me? And I had this feeling of like emptiness and just feeling lost.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even sad because, I had a job. The people I was working with were really nice. Like in terms of like relationships and family, I was fine. So I was really like, what's this? I couldn't understand, and I was feeling despair. I
Mhm.
think that's even sadder than sad because it's just like hopeless. Like I'm in the bottom and I don't even know why. So I tried to look for somebody to talk to. I didn't think I needed like some kind of doctor, but I knew that if maybe somebody can explain to me what was happening to me, then I could understand. So I tried to look for a life coach here in the Philippines, and I Googled life coach Philippines, life coach Manila, life coach Makati, the city where I live. Nobody was coming up. That was 11 years ago.
Wow.
2009, I think. 2000, yeah, 12 years ago. And no, there were no life coaches then. So I said, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous, terrible. What if somebody else needed this kind of help? What
Mhm.
if somebody needed someone to talk to? how's that? So it crossed my mind, maybe I can become one because that's a gap right there,
Yeah, of course.
right?
Saw an opportunity.
So, yeah, opportunity. But again, I didn't know how to become one. There was no one at that time who will teach me. There's no school for it, no courses, no certification. So I had to Google and Google and Google, search and search, and eventually, you know, those websites that have boxes and says, "Oh, put in your email address so that we can send you a newsletter."
Yeah.
I placed my email in every single box that I found. And thankfully, magically, miraculously, one day I received an email and it said right there, neuro linguistic hypnotherapy life coaching certification plus Reiki master certification. And that was in San Diego, California.
Hmm.
And I have an aunt there. So I was like, okay, perfect. I mean, I can stay with her while I'm studying. And so I did. I took the certification, went back here to the Philippines and started practicing.
Wow, you took that quantum leap.
I
Now,
did. I
now it
did.
all
Oh
makes
my gosh, yes. That is right. I like that segue.
now it all makes sense. So San Diego, California, had you been there before?
I have before that course,
Okay.
yes,
And how long did
because like I have relatives.
because you have relatives there, and how long did you stay there and study?
The entire course was actually 17 days, 12 hours a day. So from
Wow.
9 to 9, I had a fried brain.
Yeah.
I could remember, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is too much. So, you know what happened? And it was great because actually the course or the program, it was pretty expensive. And they said, I can take it again anytime. So, because I had a fried brain and I mean, obviously, I didn't get to absorb everything that one time. I went back the following year and I took it again, that time with my mom. So
Oh.
she took the course as well. Because the history is actually my parents are marriage counselors.
Oh.
That's why I knew that if you talk to someone, you can be helped.
Absolutely. So you have that innate kind of ability to realize that people are other people's gateway to figure out their problems, right? It's not.
Yes, that's my environment
Yeah,
basically.
that's awesome. So actually, if you could paint a picture of like home life for you from childhood to kind of maybe like 18, 20 years old, that kind of transition life. You grew up with two parents, any siblings? Where did you grow up? Did you have other people in the household? That always kind of paints a good picture of how people become who they are. So,
Yeah. So I think they started doing their couple work when I was 9 years old.
okay.
They're part of Marriage Encounter. It's really for couples, and I have a brother, and so the four of us would usually go to family encounters, so
Hmm.
family retreats.
Yeah.
So I was already exposed at a very young age. And then, so before we were just participants, my parents were just participants. And then eventually they became the speakers, and then they became the trainers. And as
Uh-huh.
a young child, I saw them, processing other couples. And uh, and so at a young age I already knew that, oh, there's like inner child, there's gestalt, there's trauma, like all of these terms I was already familiar with
Okay.
even before I took any course.
Interesting.
So it's as if, you know what, it's as if I would always share this, in the spiritual world, they
Yeah.
would say you chose your parents. And I feel like I chose my parents so that I could actually do this work that I'm doing right now. Do you believe in that?
That's an interesting concept, and I don't know that I've heard that before, that
Ah,
you
yeah?
their parents. So as a result
Mm,
of us having an innate purpose and kind of divine path, we are choosing the people that have the ability to give us the nature and nurture to fulfill those.
Yeah, something like that. Like if you have a like because not all parents are like very supportive or whatnot, then whatever like environment you're in kind of shapes you. That's right.
Mhm.
And from there it brings out like your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Because usually, much like you experienced, you find a gap in either what you've experienced or what you see other people experiencing, and you have a innate kind of human ability to want to help other humans. So, uh,
Mm,
interesting. I like
yeah.
that
I don't
concept.
know. Do you now realize like, oh, did I choose my parents with what
My
I'm doing
parents
right
are
now?
my parents are very supportive, and that they've shaped me in more ways than I can think. So yeah. Um,
You chose them well.
Thank you. You as well. You as
Yes.
well. um,
Yeah.
so did you grow up in the same city outside of Manila your entire life, or
Oh,
where?
yeah,
Yeah, explain that to me. That dynamic.
sure. So I am a city girl. I was born and raised in the city already. And especially in middle school, we went to the business district, like central business district. Like we're in the heart of the capital, basically. And so I live in a building and I'm surrounded with buildings. So I really like New York and Tokyo, those big cities. And then now I am in the suburbs,
Okay.
but I also feel like there must be a reason why I'm here now, maybe to save me from the congestion in the
From the city
city.
life, yeah.
Yeah, just making me alive, like literally
Hmm.
alive because of the pandemic. So, yeah, that's my I'm a city girl. Uh, and that's how I grew up. Like very fast paced, I
Yeah.
must say. So I'm also fast paced.
Okay.
Like if I want something, I want it now. I don't care how how you do it, but I want it now. And this is like another thing, like with the quantum leap, like I don't just jump, just do it.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out. Are you gonna fly or are you gonna like fall? Are you gonna sink or are you gonna swim? Just do it already.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that brings me to another question. So when you are working with clients now, and you obviously get to know them a little bit, and you're figuring things out, like maybe they grew up in a rural environment where it was slow paced, and their ability to get pushed into doing something is a long, grueling process, right? Like you have to really hold
Yeah.
their hand and walk 1,000 miles with them in order for them to get where they want to go, where other people will take the quantum leap. How obviously each case is individualized, but what are like your main pillars of coaching people? Um, Obviously, you have like things like relationships, you have
Mm,
things like mental health versus physical health versus um, maybe um, gratitude, right? So,
yeah.
what are your pillars of coaching, and how do you kind of dictate where to start with any one individual?
Right. Uh, I love that because people would think, oh, this is easy. Like someone's going to help me already. But actually, no. I have like a process. So before they can actually become my client, they need to be, I would always say, you need to be 200% ready.
Mhm.
It's not going to be easy. It's not a walk in the park. Like, sure, we can do meditation and breathing, but I'm going to stretch you. Like, there will be some difficult moments. You might even have crying moments. But that's part of the process. So uh, I make sure that they're actually committed and ready to do the work. If not, then I mean, that's also how I kind of like make sure that it's going to be successful because they're committed to it already.
Mhm.
And that helps a lot, because if they just want to come and to try it out, then we won't get anywhere. As you know, like people come and it's really about their mindset. And I think, I know it's our job to actually change their mindset. And with that act of telling them, only say yes or only come already when you're 200% ready. All of a sudden, in their brain, they're like, am I ready? Am I not ready? Okay, I need to get ready. So they actually get ready for that, course or program, whatever it is. And then when they finally say yes to it, then we keep going. Does
They're
that
more
make
mal-
sense?
yeah, they're more malleable at that point because
Right.
they've either hyped themselves up to the point of being coachable, or
Yeah.
they've weeded themselves out and they've realized within themselves they're not ready, and they say, "Listen, I'm not ready. I'm going to take a step back.
Right.
I'm not going to do it."
Yeah. And it super happens, and then they come back like in a few weeks or a few months,
Yeah,
and they're actually really ready.
and they
So I mean, it's a win-win.
yeah, and they respect you for not just essentially taking their money and saying, "Yeah, let's give it a try," right?
Right.
That's a point that most people don't think about on the business end. It
Yes.
You could leave a sour taste in someone's mouth by just saying, "Oh, okay, you said you're ready the first time. Sure, let's just do it." But you didn't double check and say, "No, like, are you 200% ready?" Now they say, "Okay, this person really wants to make sure that I succeed, so
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure that it's worth my while and their while." So that's good business practice. I like that. Um,
Yeah. I'm very picky. Like
Good. Not a bad
yeah.
thing.
No, no, not at all.
In terms of
Yeah.
like
So
pillars, like in terms of those pillars of like individuals' lives, like I said, relationships, education, physical and mental health, uh, all of those things. Where do you start, or what are your major focuses? Do you have like four or five or six major focuses on for every individual's life?
so I focus me it's a holistic
Yeah.
thing, which is mind, body, spirit,
Okay.
always. So we start with the mind,
Okay.
and like make sure their mindset is ready.
Hmm.
So we have like intention setting, having a mantra, having a goal, having, asking them what we're going to celebrate. So just making sure that's intact. And then body will be like the act of actually doing something
Okay.
about it,
Mhm.
the steps through it, baby steps, big steps, flying, or whatever,
Yeah.
how to get there, however it is. And then spiritually, I believe in a higher power, in God. So I make sure also that my clients have the same kind of belief and faith. And we also integrate that for sure, like with prayer, and also like with meditation and all that, knowing that there is a higher being orchestrating everything also and helping out. So those would be like my main like formula in helping a person: mind, body, spirit, not just the mindset, not just like physical, and not just by faith, but with all those three for sure.
Okay. Awesome. I like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of, you know, there are obviously so many other cofactors, right, when we're helping people. So for me, my main goal with clients might be physical health, and
Yeah.
the act of doing something, like you were saying, body.
Mm.
But if they come in on any given day and their mindset has changed, then we have to work through that. if they've if they've come to me on any given day, and spiritually they haven't done the work outside themselves, then we have
Mhm.
to try to work through that. Uh,
Right.
so how much, kind of a selfish question on my end, how much do you see physical health for people being a crutch or a limiting factor in their ability to get out of the rut that they're in, or to take their business to the next leap, or to get that person that they're in love with to actually fall back in love with them? Where do you see physical health playing a role, and how do you kind of balance that and work with that on people?
I believe I sound like a contestant in a I believe I
Yeah.
believe that yeah, I believe that it goes hand in hand for sure. Like with me personally, and I'm working on my health, and I notice that when I exercise or eat better, then my mind is also so much clearer. Like
Mhm.
seriously, so it should really go hand in hand for sure. I'm not like a fitness coach or a nutrition coach, but I make sure at the very least, like people, my clients get to sleep better
Awesome.
and to breathe better,
Mhm.
and also to drink lots of water, like the very very basic ones.
Yeah,
Like I make sure that is included in like our daily tasks
that's
and
awesome.
stuff like that. Like hydration is number one,
Yeah.
because as you know, like when you're not hydrated, then there's a lot of inflammation, right, in the body, and that causes like headaches, joint aches, muscle aches, and all that. And when you have all of these aches, then you can't really focus or concentrate. So yeah, the really basic ones, I make sure also that they're covered. They're absolutely important.
I
So
love
yes, I believe.
that. Awesome. So yeah, I believe when
Mm-hmm.
when I sit down with most nutrition clients, I find that those three are the ones that they're lacking, and it's the food that's not even really the biggest issue. Um,
Yes.
Drink better, or drink more water, sleep
Mm-hmm.
better, and those two,
Breathe.
and breathing. Yeah, I mean those are the most basic things that you can do in life. We're
Yeah.
76% water. We spend a third of our life sleeping, and we have to
Yes.
breathe every single second in order to balance oxygen,
Right.
carbon dioxide, and all of that. And if people are coming to me also with desire to improve their physical abilities, but they can't breathe, then I can't necessarily take them to their peak performance level, because they're not they're not basically pushing their lungs to their highest ability, right, as well. So
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
oh, you can go, you can go.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. I mean, all these three things are free. That's the thing,
That's the best.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you really want special water, but really, like, um, they should be easy. I know easier said than done.
Yes.
Um, but if you just make the effort to sleep better, to drink more water, to breathe more properly, then it will really help, like your physical health, your mind, mental health, even emotional health, spiritual health, all of the factors.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've been doing a lot of diving into not just myself, and going through and working through stuff, but also learning it for my clients, where we can hold um, physical tension from emotion, right? So, like, where emotional traumas, like you may have mentioned earlier, are basically showing up in the body in different parts, whether it's muscles or joints, or um, really like
Yeah.
skin, complexion.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Skin, even organs, like
Yes.
the liver. All of your anger is in your liver, apparently. If it's in your skin, even like in your face, if it's like over here, it's like your hormones. If it's
Mm-hmm.
over here, it's another thing.
Yeah.
So
Stomach, the
um
pancreas, and
yeah,
gallbladder. Like it all has different
yeah,
places. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, I am so in awe of our body, and there are also like metaphysical meanings also to where it hurts. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never, uh, I think, appreciated by most people how complex we are, but how simple it is to figure out the answer because all the information is there. And
Yes.
like you did for what seems like weeks, you just Googled life coach, life coach, life
Yeah.
coach. You can Google liver or dry cheek or blah blah
Mm.
blah, and yeah, if you put dryness in your skin, you're probably going to get 1,000 different products that pop up. But if you
Mm.
look long enough, you'll figure out maybe what organ that is related to, and how you can maybe realize that it's just your kidneys and you're dehydrated and you can go drink more water, and all of a sudden if you're if you're consistent with that for a couple days, it might go
Yeah.
away. um, and Google
Absolutely.
is free as well, as long as you have
Yes. Yeah, and
internet access, which you can go to in the city. You can go to a coffee shop or something and probably get you know uh,
yeah.
internet access, so it's free in a sense.
Yeah, and have you heard of like people saying, "Oh, we can actually heal our bodies like
Mhm.
on our own,"
Absolutely.
right? Like
You know
maybe go
Joe
ahead.
Dispenza? Do you know?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. He's one of the biggest and most well-known individuals in that spectrum, in that realm. He talks about how he healed his own body, how he was almost paralyzed, and his back was all sorts of messed up, and he would
Mm.
meditate for hours and hours on end, and he would focus, and he would essentially like send all of his body's resources to that area for healing, and
Yeah.
through fasting and meditation he basically healed himself.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm a believer of that as well.
I love it. So you mentioned something, sleep, right?
Yes.
With business and with your lifestyle of growing up in the city, New York City is one of those cities that never sleeps, right? So uh, in business world, there's this fine line of hustle and grind and all of these cool terms
Mm.
versus what we're talking about now is like you have to have your health in order to perform at such a high level for so many hours of the day. Uh, where where do you um, I don't know how I want to word the question in a sense, but where do
How to
you
balance,
yeah
maybe.
where do you teach people how to balance that ability to hustle versus take care of their health? Because there
Right.
are there are doors that open that might have a minute kind of timing, and you have to take advantage of that. But hey, I need to sleep. So how do you balance that, or how do you walk people through balancing that?
Right. Well, first of all, I believe in the hustle. Like, I believe that we need to take steps for sure. The thing that helps with that is clarity of what you actually want,
Mm-hmm.
clarity of the goal. Because when you are clear, then you also know what to say yes and no to.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
You don't just say yes to everything. Like, these are sometimes it's shiny objects that you say yes to, and that takes away energy
Hmm.
from you. So if you're clear, you can say yes. You can keep saying yes to the right things.
Now, in
And
terms
then,
of, sorry, keep
yeah,
going. You can keep going.
yeah. And then in terms of like balancing that, of course, I always teach that you need to be, your cup has to be full, 100%,
Mhm.
always. And then if there's an overflow, that's the only time that you can like give to others. So I'm a huge also believer of taking naps. I
Yes.
take I just took a nap before this call.
Nice. I love it.
uh yeah, I love taking naps. It's really like for me, it's very powerful. I get re-energized in the middle of the day, and that helps a lot for me to keep going
Mhm.
as well. So I'm a believer of sleeping and naps.
I like it. I took a
Yeah.
I took a 16-minute nap last night before I went to a friend's house. So,
Yeah.
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 One of the best things I ever learned in high school was from one of my history teachers. He was like a world civilization teacher, and I had him sophomore year of high school, and I had him my senior year of high school. Mr. Watts was his name, and
Mm-hmm.
he did these Mr. Watts life lessons, and one of his life lessons was to take naps. And he is massive, massive, massive into like Eastern medicine. He would travel to Japan, he would travel to Okinawa, to the Philippines, to Malaysia,
Mm-hmm.
and he just loved the culture on your side of the world. And he would talk about uh, he would he pulled up pictures actually one time in class when we were talking about naps, and he was like, look, these are people on the train in different Asian countries, and they're napping. He's like, they're in full business, suits, and
Mm-hmm.
they're on their way to work. He said, but I've been on those trains with people, and they get on the plane, they put their head back, and 2 minutes later they wake up and they get off the plane. I mean, not the plane,
Yes.
the train.
Right.
He said it doesn't matter how long they nap for. He said it's the ability to be able to just turn your brain off for that
Yes.
second, for that couple of minutes. It's powerful, and it's a trained kind of thing. He said, but they do it because it allows them to really stay in touch with that ability, and then they also can wake up more energized and more clear on. And it's helped me. I've always kept that in the back of my head. In college, it was massive for me. I had such a crazy, crazy schedule. I would go back to my room. I wouldn't even like take, anything off. I would just lay in my bed for 10 minutes, wake up and go to my next class or go to practice or game or whatever it might have been. So
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that coaching point. Take naps. Naps.
Take naps. Yes. And some people don't know how to do it at all.
I know. That's
Um,
why I can't
yeah.
nap. Like, well, you
Like,
could.
oh,
You just don't try hard enough, or you've lost that ability to turn your brain off, and that's not necessarily
yeah.
a thing.
Yeah, one time, so I had a lot of jobs. One of my jobs was a tour escort,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in a cruise ship, and I was with my colleague, and I said I need to take a nap because we were serving like 100 people at
Mm-hmm.
that time. I said I'm tired. I just need to take like a quick nap, and she's like, "How can you? I don't nap. I don't know how to do it." I said, lie down right now, close your eyes, and we will start napping. And then I woke up before her. I had to take her photo and show her, look at how you look like. It looks like you needed it.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my gosh, I know how to nap now. I'm like, yes. And aren't you happy that you took it? She's like, oh my gosh, yes. So after that, she started, napping. So if I can only, I want to have like a class of teaching people how to nap. Um, and I feel like
Sign
with
me up.
yes, I feel like I have because I have like a meditation program,
Oh,
and it's like 10 minutes long each. And some people would say, oh, they would actually doze off with it, which is good. So I want to advocate for that actually,
and
to help people
that's a great way to look at that. I I'm Interested to hear a little bit more about your meditation program in a sense. How do you structure that? Is it like something where you're teaching them different breathing patterns? Is it videos? Is it follow along like sounds or like a meditation music that they can put on their phone?
Yeah. So this happened last year. I launched it last year because of the happenings in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I just said like I need to come up with something to help people. People are so agitated. They're feeling so worried.
Mm-hmm.
They're so anxious already. So I need to calm them down.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do this? So I started recording, and they're actually on Spotify and other podcasts. So my podcasts are actually meditations. And
Awesome.
then I kept on recording, like every week I was coming up with something. And then I just decided, okay, I'm just going to make this into a program, put them all together. And so now people can actually sign up for it for free, and they receive an email for 10 days from me, and they just play the recording, and there's like a little prompt for reflection. And
Interesting.
then they get signed up also to a private group,
Yeah.
so that we can discuss how the meditation was helpful for them or not. A lot of them would say they would tear up
Yeah.
while they're listening, and they're really boggled by it, like why was I crying? And they weren't even feeling like sadness, it was just like tears falling. And I would explain it like it's some kind of release.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the cells in their body that their body doesn't need anymore, so it just comes out. So they really like it, and it also helps them fall asleep better,
I like.
like for a nap or at night. So it's different kinds of meditations. One is just breathing, body scan. My most popular would be the shower meditation.
Interesting.
So you need to take me to the shower room with you.
Kimi Lu
And
in the shower. All right.
yes, yeah, and I would tell them like you need to have a speaker, like a Bluetooth speaker, or else like the shower will just drown my voice. I have a grounding meditation, loving kindness meditation, sending love and light meditation, gratitude meditation, ho'oponopono. So all these kinds, it's like going to 10 sessions with me for free.
Awesome.
Mm.
I'm
So
gonna.
you better sign up.
I was gonna say I'm gonna make sure everyone has the ability to click on a link of some sort or find that. So if you can send that, that would be awesome. I'll put it out with the podcast.
For
Uh,
sure. Yeah.
Now you just mentioned a gratitude meditation. So uh, when obviously people are struggling or people make decisions that aren't in line with their focus and their goals, um, a lot of people have the problem of kind of judging themselves,
Mm.
right? Where they basically they make a bad decision, now they internally feel bad, and now they kind of turn around and they make themselves feel worse, right? Because they are just compounding that interest of making a bad decision, feeling bad about themselves, making another one as a result. And how do you go about judging yourselves versus maybe just being grateful for where you are,
Mm.
what you have, or grateful for the fact that you understood you made a bad decision and you can change that the next time? Um,
Yeah. Some people call this your saboteur.
mm,
Like
okay.
it's a self sabotage, right? Like when you start thinking, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I'm a failure. I can't do this anymore. But actually, you can make friends with this saboteur, and you can even ask, okay, so what did we learn here? I
Mm,
think it's more of just asking the right questions,
nice.
with the thoughts or the voices in your head, like what did we learn here, what can we do better. So really just having a more positive self-talk
Yeah.
with yourself, and not blaming yourself or judging.
Mhm.
yourself.
Do you find that
And
writing it down might be something that's beneficial for people?
yeah, journaling is like a thing. Like
Yeah,
it's, I know a lot of people say, oh, do journaling. And people keep saying that because it actually works,
it does. It does. Absolutely.
right? All of these cliche things that we hear, I mean, people keep saying them because they actually, like, there's value in that.
I
And when
think
somebody says, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, sorry to cut you off. I believe
Okay.
uh,
Yes.
that most of the things that are blatantly obvious that they work and people talk about them, the issue with most people in modern societies is that they want one thing to be the answer and to be the cure all and to be the major game changer. But it's the application of all of those in small doses over a consistent period of time. And
Yeah.
that is what wipes people out is they hear, oh, you should journal, you should be grateful, you should meditate, you should read, you should take your vitamins, you should sleep 8 hours. And then all of a
Right.
sudden, they're like, well, I don't know which one to do or which one to focus on. And they just say, all of them are stupid. I don't want to do any of these.
Mm,
And I feel as if that is where most people get lost in the maze of figuring out how to maneuver through life. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree.
Mm,
Um, I call this like compounding action
mm, absolutely.
towards, something. Like you don't need to journal like 10 pages a day. I personally just write down 3 lines a day, which is about my gratitude. Like
Mm,
3 things I'm grateful for. Just write that down every single day. And I know it's so simple,
mhm,
but then it works for me.
yeah.
So I do that.
Do
uh,
you do that in the morning or at night or
at
throughout?
night at 10 p.m.
Awesome. Okay.
I
So,
have an alarm for it.
yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful. I like that.
yes. And yeah, and sometimes, in addition to that, you can actually have friends like in a circle, like in a WhatsApp group. I have this for sure. Every month, I invite people to, and I tell them, hey, I'm gonna have a gratitude circle on WhatsApp. Who wants to join? Maybe 7, so there's 8 of us, and
Wow.
like every night or even during the day, people would just type down what they're grateful for, and we kind of support each other, like yay, like cheering for one another, and then I write down what I'm grateful for as well. So there's some kind of like accountability,
I like
and that's for free. Like you're even helping others by
it.
helping yourself also. So yeah.
And that used to be very common practice. I don't know what your living situation or family situation is now, but that was common practice for a lot of people. Hundreds of years ago, you would sit down with your family, and you would
Mm.
eat dinner, and you would talk about your day and have gratitude. And that is a ritual and a cultural thing that is present in some parts of the world still, but not as much
Mhm.
so. And
Yeah.
there was purpose in that. There was reason for that, and a lot of people do not get to experience that. And the sense of loneliness might creep in, and a sense of mad or anger that you don't have what you're looking at Instagram while you're eating dinner because you're scrolling through all of these different things from other people, and I don't have this, I don't have that, they do, and all of a sudden you forget kind of where you are, what you should be grateful for. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I like that. Compounding action, maybe just
Mm.
things a day. The
Yeah.
family, the group chat on Group Me. That's awesome. Very smart.
Yeah. Again, like free. This is for free.
Feel free.
You just need to do them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to ask you kind of what um, your clarity vision is. What is your impact that you want to have on the world besides helping you know, individuals with these small problems in their life. Do you have an
Mhm.
overarching, larger vision goal? Because sometimes people say, I just want to help one person at a time, and I want to do as much of that as I can. So
Yeah.
where does your vision statement and mission statement come in?
My regular vision statement would be I want people to celebrate their lives. But my, like, within me, really, and people are, I get comments like, Kimi, like, how can you keep creating? How can you keep doing this? Like, it's been years already and you're not stopping. Seems like you're not stopping anytime soon, obviously. And because I think it's because of this overarching vision of I create sacred spaces, or these, sessions and workshops and talks, because I want to bring people closer to the source.
Uh, okay.
So, like, when they celebrate their life, they have this ability to love their life, and that's the same as loving God.
Mm,
If they appreciate, like, stopping and smelling the flowers,
yeah.
and the flowers are God's creation, then I'm bringing them closer to God. If all of a sudden they love water, drinking water, and water is a natural resource created by God, then they're becoming closer to God. So I cannot stop my job, because I will be stopping people from getting closer to the source.
Yeah.
So I just keep doing what I'm doing.
I love that. I my my vision of that is, as you continued to say, something like drinking the water or smelling the flowers
Mm,
is the present, right? The gift
yes,
of life is being present, which is why
absolutely.
sleeping, uh, breathing,
Breathing,
all of those things are so,
being grateful.
yeah, awesome. I like that a lot. What are
Mhm.
some of your favorite books and podcasts?
I love Resisting Happiness by Matthew Kelly, one of the books that I really like and always recommend. Basically, that book says that when you say no to things immediately, then you're already resisting happiness,
Mm,
because you're not even sure yet what's going to happen, and you said no to it right away.
you weren't open minded to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, say yes, and then you'll figure it out. Oh, that's not the one, not for me. But yeah, so that one I really like that. um I also like Marianne Williamson's Law of Divine Compensation,
Yes.
and that also really helped me value myself a lot, and other people's services as well. So that's another book that I really like.
I have one
Yeah.
of Marianne Williamson's most famous quotes tattooed right on my chest right here.
What? Which one?
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
Yeah, that's why you're limitless.
Yes, absolutely. You got
Okay, awesome.
that all played out.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I saw her one time
Oh, wow.
in the UK.
Yeah.
So I think, cause I think her daughter is there. So she had a talk, and it was so fortunate that I was looking at Eventbrite, because as I've told you earlier, this is my hobby. I
Yeah,
go to a city, I go on Eventbrite, see what I can learn. And I said, Marianne Williamson is here? I need to see her.
that's funny.
So I did. I had a photo with her, and that exact book, Law of Divine Compensation, I have a signed copy of
Well,
that.
that's amazing. I'm gonna
Mm.
I'm gonna have to add that book to my list.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one before, and I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan of her. I always see quotes of hers on the internet, and
Mm.
obviously I have one on my chest that I see pretty often. So I know
Yes.
she brings great perspective to the world. Um,
Yeah.
the last thing I wanted to kind of talk about was, you mentioned it a second ago, was uh, you know, the sacred space that you
Mm.
So, do you want to talk about your sacred space kind of certification and what that program is going to look like?
Sure. Well, so there's like now more than ever, and that's why I gave birth to it last year, is because I noticed more and more people were just needing that sacred space. And sacred space would mean like a converse, it could be a simple conversation between two people,
Right.
and you not being judged at all, and you can be your authentic self. You can talk about anything and everything under the sun because it's sacred, like it's important to you. That's why you can talk about it freely,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes like society doesn't allow you to do that, or like some families are not open to having these conversations.
That's a valid
And
point.
so there should be like sacred space holders,
Mm.
people that can hold that conversation with you. And so I noticed that, whenever I have workshops or sessions, this is what they would tell me, like, you know what, when I'm like with you, like I can just be myself and talk about anything. And so I said, okay, I think people, I mean, I can't be the only one. I mean, there's billions of people. So I
Yeah.
need to teach this, whatever I'm doing, to other people so that other people can hold space for you.
Hmm.
And I started that last year. And to date, there are 24 sacred space holders.
Wow.
And in June, there will be another round of certification. And we already have 12 enrolled, but I'm opening it up to have more because it seems like it's like highly needed and
Yeah.
people are on the wait list. So I mean, I'm inviting whoever's listening right now to check that out if you feel it's for you. So I call in leaders,
Mm.
consultants, mentors, coaches, even mothers,
Mm.
uh, educators as well,
Yeah.
as long as they feel like, okay, I need to hold space. And the fun thing is that they realize, oh, I need to hold space for myself first
I like
to
that.
be able to hold space for others. So they would describe it as going back to themselves,
Wow.
going back home. Those are their usual feedback. So I'm like, oh, I really like that. I mean, if you are at home with your own self, isn't that beautiful and amazing? So yeah, that's like one of the programs that I am really advocating or really sharing with people, because more and more people now need that sacred space.
Awesome. And what about your other program, Quantum Leap? I want to hear a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, I have done a lot of quantum leaps in my life. No life coach here in the Philippines. Oh, I just became one. And then last year, from 70% of my work was actually in person. Like I would go to offices of companies, I would have one on one sessions in my own space. And then all of a sudden, this happened. I had to make it 100% online.
Wow.
So when people say, "Oh, you need to pivot, like you need to change your career now because there's a pandemic," I don't think I did that. What I did was I did a quantum leap into leveling up my practice, because it was also so clear. No, I'm holding space for people to go closer to the source. How can I do that considering this is happening to the world?
Mm.
So I took that leap of, I hired an online coach who was like an expert in online marketing,
Yeah.
and then an online mastermind coach, so that I could learn how to hold space even more, like in Zoom sessions. So I really just, educated myself more, leveled up everything else, invested in a crazy time. And that's my quantum leap. So I said, if I did this for myself, I would like people to do the same, not change their careers, because that would be like sad, right? Like, oh, I do this and then they really love their job and then now they had to change their job just because this is happening to the world. I feel like you can still do what you love. You just need to tweak it a little and level it up.
I like that approach. I love that. And once again, it
Mm,
comes full circle to say that you kind of have this innate ability to want to take quantum leaps. But with that being said, you are also taking those actionable steps and making those things happen, and then trying to share that with others after you do so yourself.
yes. I'd say I walk the talk.
Uh-huh.
I
And
really
that's leading by example,
mm,
in its simplest form. I think that's something that
yes.
I have uh, realized within myself I need to do, in order for the people around me to level up in some aspect of their life, or in order for them to feel like they have the ability to do so. It has to be done by me first. I
Yes.
by example. I love that.
Mm.
um, as it is called the LT360 podcast, things usually come full circle at the end. And then I also like to turn around and give you kind of the mic and see if you have any questions for me.
Ooh, okay. Oh my gosh, I'm not prepared.
That's all.
My question right now would be, what have you or have you considered yourself quantum leaping? Or in this time, what would you quantum leap to, perhaps?
What would I quantum leap to?
Yeah, maybe like a goal. Like what do you want?
Okay, so this has been top of mind for months on end now. I moved to Florida with the intention of growing and building a network here, fulfilling my business opportunities, taking advantage of the opportunities down here, starting my brand, my podcast, continuing to build my online presence, my brand, and continue to network with awesome, business partners, and facilitate more online income. And my goal was 3 years after moving here to take a quantum leap of moving into an RV or a van and
Wow.
traveling around the United States, because I too have a travel bug like you, and my desires in the long term seem to be gravitating towards living outside of the United States. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where, and I haven't been too many places, but I know that if I move without being grateful for everything that is within the United States, then I'll have basically done it wrong, in my opinion. To leave
Mm.
a place where I grew up that is massive, it has a unique way of life. There are so many beautiful geographical places in the United States. We have one of the best lifestyles in terms of not having to very much fight for, things that are free, and having surplus of food and water, and being able to walk on the streets, and things like that aren't common around the world, in all
Yeah.
places. So I want to be grateful for that. I want to quantum leap my life that is uh, everything I am, everything I own, everything I do on a business end, and put it in an RV and take it around the country. And then now, after that point, uh, basically be able to feel good about maybe moving out of the country, and traveling more internationally to see where I would want to live. So my quantum leap and what I've been striving for and pushing for for the last 3 years is to be able to create a foundation of online income so that I can
Mm.
afford to travel around the country and do my podcast and meet other health professionals and life coaches and continue to educate myself on all the things I want to learn. And
Yeah.
the RV is almost in my hands. I'm almost at the point of purchasing, so that's
So
exciting.
it's so near.
It is. It is near. I don't intend on
Yes.
getting it and just taking off. I
Yeah.
I have a plan and I've written that out and the
Wow.
that goal is very clear for me. So
Yeah. It seems like it's already happening.
it is. It's always in process, right? Always.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's like that's very clear. And I'm sure it will, I mean, like I'll see you and maybe you're posting that you're everywhere in the US, like in different parts of
Yes.
the US.
It'll
Yeah, and I can't wait that you get to travel. I mean, all of us around the world, and to also witness, to be a witness to that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you for asking. It was a perfectly timed question, actually.
Awesome. Yeah, I would always say right place, right time, right people.
Uh-huh. I like that. Three rights.
Yeah.
And you end up back where you were.
Yes. Mm-hmm. 360.
I never thought about that, right? I'm glad you caught it.
Yeah.
So, uh, to everyone who's listening and who stuck with us through this, thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Kimi Lu, do you have anything for all the listeners and viewers?
Well, if they want the free 10-day meditation program, the link will be somewhere. Dylan will post it somewhere. Or you can go to www.kimilulifecoach.com, and it's the first thing that you'll see there, 10-day meditation program. Please also follow me on Instagram, Kimi Lu Life Coach. That's where I am most active on social media. If you send a message, I'll reply back as soon as I can. And yeah, just, continuously be grateful for your life and celebrate it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I will leave a link in connection with everything that she just said. Um, Also, look out for Sacred Space, which is launching in what, June again?
June, yes.
June. So be on the lookout for the next wave of Sacred Space holders. And
Yeah,
if you want to take a quantum leap, consider reaching out. And like she said, at the very least, follow her on social. And, she's very active. She gives a lot of great free content on there as well. And I want to say thank you for sharing everything you did today with the listeners and with myself. It was awesome.
yay.
Learned a lot, and I'm excited to continue to maybe make some connections and collaborate on something. And
For sure. I mean, we'll travel together one day.
yeah, I'll come visit in the Philippines. How's that sound?
Yes, you're super welcome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. For everyone watching, once again, thank you. Uh, Until next time, I am, we are, life is limitless. Adios.